Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Welcome to Tech Bite News, and today, oh boy, Apple. Apple's in a little bit of trouble right now. Not serious trouble, but for all the hype of the iPhone 10 being the next big thing, being this revolutionary phone, well, apparently the general public doesn't quite agree, and it is reflecting in the sales. As this Business Insider article points out, Apple is reportedly slashing iPhone 10 orders because it isn't selling well. Big shock. Really big shock. Multiple reports suggest Apple has slashed some component orders for iPhone 10. On Monday, Nikkei reported that Apple told suppliers it was cutting its first quarter production target for the iPhone 10 in half to about 20 million units. I guess it's time to pause and just say, only in Apple world is selling 20 million units considered a pretty big disappointment. The Wall Street Journal followed that up Tuesday, also reporting that Apple was planning to make only 20 million iPhone 10s in the first quarter. The journal quoted a person familiar with the reason for the cut as saying, "They always do this when things aren't selling well." Well, yeah, why would you cut the order when it was selling good? Apple stock slid over 1% in trading after the Nikkei report on Monday. Actually, it's probably Nikkei. The iPhone 10 is Apple's most important product. It was launched in September with a $1,000 price tag, the highest ever for an iPhone. It also came with the iPhone's first major redesign in 3 years. Well, as much as a redesign as you can have. I mean, come on, it's a phone, guys. At first, it looked as if supply of the device would be the problem given production issues, especially with the device's delicate Face ID camera. But Apple was able to largely fulfill the iPhone 10 orders it received during the holiday season. Now, as Apple's slow season kicks off, it looks like the $1,000 price tag is hurting demand. Apple declined to comment to the journal in Nikkei, but CEO Tim Cook addressed similar component concerns in January. Well, okay, a 2013 call doesn't mean anything. So let's talk about this for a second. Why is the iPhone 10 such a failure that they are cutting the production units? I mean, the $1,000 price tag is something. I'm not going to say it's not. I mean, even though Apple fans are pretty clearly willing to pay $800, sometimes $900, once you get to the $1,000, well, now you're talking the 4 digits, so people are definitely concerned about that. But there's other reasons. The iPhone 10 is notoriously easy to break because it's made of glass. Glass. The stuff that breaks easily. Most people, they drop it once and it shatters, or it cracks severely at the very least. You don't want to spend $1,000 on a device that if you drop it once, it'll shatter. I mean, maybe for a TV, but you don't intend to be carrying your TV everywhere. The phones, you are going to be carrying that phone with you everywhere, so their chances of dropping it are pretty darn good. I've dropped this a couple times. It just happens. So that's one of the other reasons. Another reason, I believe, is because people didn't care as much about the face technology. I just don't think they did. I mean, I know Apple pushed it, but I think people looked at that and like, okay, well, that's kind of dumb. I don't think that's worth $1,000. Another reason, it's probably because of the headphone jack, or the lack therefore of. I mean, the funny thing is Apple said they were so they were so futuristic, so we can see the future, headphone jackets are dead, and yet, what is the most valuable iPhone on the market right now? The iPhone 6. iPhone 6s are in way more demand than any other iPhone. They're in more demand now than they were first released, and dongles sell like crazy. Clearly, people still want the headphone jacket, and it's insulting to them when you charge them $1,000 for a phone and you can't include a $2 component that they want. And also, I'm sure the controversy of Apple throttling the older phones did not help. Now, that's not going to have an immediate effect on the sales, but it's going to have a long-term implication where when people find out, oh, their batteries or their older phones are being purposefully throttled, well, I don't know if I want to invest in Apple's ecosystem if, I come to a point where I decide, you know what, I don't need the new phone. I'm just going to hold on to this for a couple of years, and the phone works worse 2 years later because Apple is deliberately doing it, well, that makes you think twice about spending $1,000 on a phone that you might not even get a couple years use out of. So Apple has been making some very poor, very arrogant decisions. Now, are they going to be hurt too much in the short run? No. In fact, I have a friend who works at Apple, and he says that Apple has enough cash that they could operate fully capacitated for, I think, 15 years without having to make a profit. Yeah. That's how popular Apple is. But, again, this sort of resistance is unusual for Apple. They don't experience it very often, so this is something they might want to pay attention to, and they might want to think about it because, it goes on long enough, and before you know it, soon the iPhone is not the most wanted item in the world. Soon you don't have people lining up for the new phone or the new iMac or Apple TV. My Apple TV is giving me problems right now. So Apple is in I think the iPhone 10 was just a mistake. In fact, funny story, this is a side story. Katie recently switched carriers, upgraded her phone. She had the option between the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10. And on the monthly payment plan, the iPhone 10 was about a $10 difference. Really not much in the grand scheme of things. She wasn't going to miss an additional $10 on the monthly bill. But no, went with the 8 because the 10, the rumors of it just breaking easily were too much. And, she just didn't want that. So, but anyway, I'd like to know, what are your thoughts about this? Do you think this is an indication that Apple might have some long-term trouble ahead, or do you think this is just a little bit of a hiccup? Or do you think there's a reason the iPhone 10 might be failing that I didn't think about? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy the videos I make, consider becoming a Patreon member for a little $1 a month. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.